Okay, welcome back everybody. Now, as I said at the end of part one of, as we look back at Care Bears, in my own opinion, um, the reason that Nirvana Animation decided to go with a character design change was to help identify who were the male Care Bear and Care Bear cousins, and who were the female Care Bear cousins. I mean, it's like I said in part one. When Dig Animation did the show, they identified. Well, they kind of messed up a little bit. They kind of had Swift-Heart depicted as a boy, Swift-Heart Rabbit. The Care Bear cousins, they had Swift-Heart depicted as a boy. And like I said, since Nirvana Animation has the final say on what gender the character is, Nirvana Animation basically stated that Swift-Heart is a female. And like I said, you can look at Adventures in Wonderland. I think there's an episode called The Great Race in the first season of the Care Bears series under Nirvana Animation. That really give you the idea that, oh, Swift-Heart's a girl. And if you, like I said in part one, if you look real closely at the movies, you'll see that Swift-Heart is a girl. Now, again, what Nirvana Animation did, though, to really help identify who were the boys and who were the girls, was in the second season under Nirvana Animation, basically the third, fourth season altogether, but in the second season under the Nirvana Animation umbrella, I guess the animators and the writers there decided that they were going to finally, show who was a boy and who was a girl. They were going to basically give them identities, is what they were going to do. And that's what they did. Like with this character here, Champ Bear. Now, before I get into this, Champ Bear, like when Nirvana Animation first took over, the first season under the Nirvana Animation umbrella, the bears looked all the same. They were designed the same, and there was nothing really really anything different. Nothing really different that really made them stand out, basically. Nothing really made them stand out. But in the second season, like I said, under Nirvana Animation, third season, fourth season altogether, what they did is they took a character like Champ here, and what they did, since Champ is one of the Care Bears, is they took him and decided he was going to be one of the main characters that would be associated with, that basically, if a kid was new to the series at the time, they would see someone like Champ with his new design that you see with the headband and the jacket and all that. They would look at somebody like Champ and they'd be like, oh, because basically, if someone would come up to them and ask, do you know who Champ Bear is? They'd be like, oh, I know who Champ Bear is. He's from Care Bears. Because all they'd have to do is get the mental image of Champ Bear with his jacket and his headband and be like, I know where he's from. I know what show he's from. And the same can be said for this character, Cheer Bear. Now, Cheer Bear was, of course, one of the original 10 Care Bears. And it was only, I guess, ironic or whatever that she'd be chosen to be one of the main characters that would fans of the show and new fans of the show would associate with the show, if you know what I'm saying. So that, like I said, again, with Champ Bear, somebody went up to someone else who was just getting into the show and had just become a fan of the show, and they would ask him, hey, do you know who Cheer Bear is? All they'd have to do is get the picture of Cheer Bear with the bangs, the ponytail, and the yellow jacket with the poof sleeves, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know who Cheer is. So, that's one of the things one of the things that Nirvana Animation did with the Care Bears. Now, as far as the Care Bear cousins go, to help to identify who was a boy and who was a girl, they took two characters that I don't really know would have came as a surprise to anybody. But the two characters that they took, one, as you can see, is Bright Heart Raccoon, and to identify the fact that he was a boy, even though it's been proven through the first three movies, and as well as the Dig Animation show, and even the first season under Nirvana Animation, that he is a boy. But to really identify him as a boy and make him a character that, again, if someone was to ask someone else, do you know who Bright Heart Raccoon is? And let's say that somebody just got into the show, they'd be like, oh yeah, I know who Bright Heart Raccoon is. He's the one that wears, as you can see, the ball cap, vest, and sneakers. That's how they'd be able to identify who Bright Heart is. And then the other Care Bear cousin that they chose to help identify with the show was Treat Heart Pig. And again, I hate to repeat myself, but again, what they could do, anytime someone would come up to another person who had probably just got into the show and ask, do you know who Treat Heart Pig is? They'd be like, oh yeah, I know who Treat Heart is. Because they'd be able to get the picture in the mind of Treat Heart with the headband, or the hair clip, I should say, and the denim jacket. That's how they'd be able to identify who she is and where show she's from. And again, this is just my opinion, but this was at a time, I believe, when a lot of shows, animation-wise or live-action-wise, had a group of characters that were not just your main characters, but were characters that you could associate with the show. That basically all you'd have to do is get a picture in your mind if somebody mentions that character's name to you, and not only would you know who that character is, but you'd know where they're from. And that's what Nirvana Animation did with this with the third and fourth season overall of Care Bears. They took these four characters, the two Care Bears, Champ and Cheer, and the cousins, Bright Heart and Treat Heart, and they made them the main characters, the ones that you can identify the show with. You know, like I said, in case you were probably new to it. Now, of course, the franchise has continued on even to this day. Because like I said, the last animated film that they had was Adventures in Wonderland, but the film that they had recently that got more worldwide exposure than the two direct-to-video ones, I guess you could say. But the one that got more exposure and more media exposure, I should say, was Oopsie Does It. And that led into the series that was aired on CBS called Adventures in Care-a-Lot. And Adventures in Care-a-Lot did something that Nirvana Animation had been wanting to do with all the characters, but at the time could only do with the four that I mentioned. And what they wanted to do with all the characters was basically identify who were boys and who were girls. And now when you look at the new series that's on CBS, or was on CBS, you could definitely see and identify who's a girl and who's a boy. Because a lot of the girls have ponytails or headbands with little flowers in them, or they're wearing purses and stuff like that. Another thing about this